In this video, we're going to take a look at a few options for using inputs in Dynamo Player in interesting ways. The graph we're going to use works with view titles, and it is provided in the description below as a resource for you to follow along. With that in mind, we'll go ahead and open up Revit 2023 to check out this graph. All right, so now that we're in Revit 2023, we will see that we have the advanced sample model open and we have Dynamo Player open. Once again, the dataset is included below for your reference. The graph in question is the center view title graph that we have created and assigned in Dynamo Player at this time. If I select the graph in Dynamo Player, we'll have a few options available to us with some default inputs that we'll take a look at here in a little bit. First, we have our sheet selection. I'm going to pick the section sheet because that's the one I have open on the screen right now. We have a title offset parameter. We'll look at that in a second as well. And we have a view title location for us to be able to choose which view title location we'd like. Let's go ahead and try it out. We do have a tooltip here for us to be able to choose which location. Let's go ahead and select center and we'll click run. All right, so you will notice that this graph has already ran. We do have that offset of 10 millimeters in here, so all of the view titles did move up a little bit. But that is okay. We can go ahead and ignore that for now. But you will see that these did center on that view plus that 10 millimeters. If I go ahead and hit undo in Revit, and I change this to 0 millimeters, and we hit run again, we should see that a little bit closer to what we're wanting to happen inside of our viewport. Let's go ahead and try another option. But at this point, if I were to type in right with a lowercase r for the word right, and I hit run, we will see that it's defaulting to the left at this time. It's not quite working how we would think it would. And that's because the Dynamo graph is expecting a capital letter R for right. So that is one thing to keep in mind with a lot of these. Further, if you were to misspell what's going on, so if we misspelled center and hit run, we will get a result that doesn't make sense as well. At this time, this is not currently working how we like, so we'd like to constrain this a little bit more for our end users to be able to use it. So what we're going to go ahead and do is click on the pencil icon to edit this graph right in Dynamo. I'll go ahead and minimize Dynamo Player for now, and we'll go ahead and expand our library. So in Dynamo, we are able to use several different inputs for Dynamo Player graphs. We are able to use dropdowns, which this first one is a dropdown, string input, which this title offset is a string input. This node's really interesting because very similar to our previous blog posts, we are able to embed units in Dynamo graphs in Revit 2023 and up by using the units nodes that are new. This one lets you input unit types and it will convert those based on that expression, which is really nice. And we also have our string input for our select view title location. This does have a note pinned to it, which allows us to further indicate how this node works to our end user. However, it is nice to be able to constrain the inputs that we're expecting for our end user to be able to only select things that do work. The rest of this graph just does some conversion for the units to be able to set the view title location and length. At this point, we are using a Python script for this. There are out-of-the-box nodes for view titles, but with the units conversion, we wanted to use a Python script to enable that to all happen within one node. So once again, the dataset's included with this, and the Python script has nodes all within it if you're interested in exploring it further. So whenever we're looking at a few different input options for us to use in Dynamo Player, like I mentioned previously, we are able to use dropdowns. If we were to navigate to the Revit category in the library, elements, and text notes, we will see that we have a few different options in here. What's really cool is text notes in Revit allow you to choose left, right, or center alignment, which is really nice. So if we go ahead and navigate to the text category, we are able to perform an action, which lets us select horizontal text alignments or vertical text alignments. At this point, we'll go ahead and select the Select Horizontal Text Alignment node. If we select this dropdown, we will see that center, left, and right are the options available to us. And coincidentally, that's exactly what we want to be able to select for our viewport as well. So this node will work great. For reference, the select vertical text alignments available as well, and this lets you do bottom, middle, and top for alignments. I could see this being really useful for creating locations for annotations within a view if you're starting to align those as well. These nodes are really great because they actually just output a string. So we are able to get that output and use it on down our graph, which is what this string input is doing for the view title location as well. In order to make this easy, I'm going to double click the previous string node and copy that title. We're going to rename this node so that way it shows up in Dynamo Player. I'm going to unpin this node, and we're going to hold down Shift on our keyboard to disconnect the output port of our previous string node and hook this into our horizontal alignment output port at this time. We are done with this original string node for select view title location, so we'll go ahead and remove that now. And in Dynamo 2.13 in Revit 2023 and up, we can drag our node into our group to be able to add it to the group. I do like to include descriptions for how to select these things within Dynamo Player Graphs. So if we select our node and our note, we can right click and pin that note to the node. This time we can go ahead and change our description because it doesn't make sense to tell the user to type a value any longer. So we'll say, please select an alignment. The other great thing with this drop-down node is we are able to select a default value. I'll go ahead and pick center at this time. The last step in this process is to right-click and make this new drop-down node an input, and we can go ahead and save our graph and close Dynamo, and it will update in Dynamo Player on the fly. At this time, we can go ahead and select the Dynamo graph in Dynamo Player once again. We can modify these offsets. In this case, I'll go ahead and do this at a -10 millimeter. We'll use the sections view, and I want to align everything to the right now. You will notice that interaction is a lot nicer at this point, center, left, and right, and we can just pick those values with the drop down. Let's go ahead and press run. Once our graph runs, we will see all of our view titles have aligned to the right side of the viewport, and they are stepped down 10 millimeters, which is really great. This interaction is awesome, and it's not necessarily meant to happen this way. That node's originally for text note alignments for when you're creating text notes with Dynamo, but it outputting the values that we need is great. I could see us adding another value in here for being able to align the bottom, middle, or top of the viewport view title as well if you'd like. Once again, I did mention that this does take units. So if you wanted this offset -1 inch, you can do that as well. And it will run and offset it as 1 inch. This is using that units conversion that we covered in our previous blog post. So there we have it. A lot of times you could think of different ways to use inputs in Dynamo to do various things. In the blog post, we reference using an integer slider as well, which is a really great strategy for bounding a user within constraints. But yeah, I encourage you to test out this graph, try to implement different solutions in your own Dynamo Player graphs, and we hope that helps out with your Dynamo Player graph creation.